Emerald taking a lot of damage in the opener by Chicago. This is going to go for a bit of a Frost Shock, Earth Shock. Is he still playing Volcanic? Trying to see if he can catch Chicago. Doesn't quite attach it properly. Is going to go for the Lightning Bolts off of the Sun, though. Definitely needs to get himself a Lava Burst at some point, especially if he wants to be able to make quite a bit of damage off of that. Knockback by Emerald. Trying to see if he can establish like some kind of pressure on Chicago. Has to go for a lot of the casted gameplay. Is still playing that Volcanic build. Frost Shock onto Chicago. Does get a route to follow into the last one. Chicago sprinting in with a Trinket. Leaping in with a Thunder. Stormkeeper to follow for Emerald. Got himself Earth Shock. Big Blaster on Chicago. But the Grounding Totem is going to end up absorbing quite a lot of that Lightning Bolt damage, which is super unfortunate. But Amarak trying to keep the Frost Shocks in Chicago, went for the knockback, but while Chicago's rooted, can't go anywhere. Lasso might end up taking Amarak down. Doesn't have anything off of this one. He has the Guardian Spirits in case he wants to use those. Cannot really escape while Ghost Wolfing. Does end up juking out a kick from Chicago, which is pretty good. Definitely needs to go for as much self-casting as possible. Big blast by Chicago may just end up taking him out here. Unless Amarak finds a way out. Does drop down a totem. Chicago eliminating it. Potentially could have been a root totem just now. Burrow does evade the knockdown into a knock-up, into a Sunder. Oh, that combo! Look at that combo. He knocked him up into a Sunder, into an Ascent proc. My goodness. Reverence is going to be up next. Got himself Conflagrations back-to-back in Chicago. Reflect up, trying to make sure he does get a full cast. That's a lot of damage in a single Soulfire. A Wild Reflect is up. Chicago can't even interrupt it. Literally can't interrupt it. Fear into Chaos Bolt. Shadow Fury to follow. Does have his Succubus right next to him in case he wants to go for the Succubus you see on Chicago. Big incineration to follow. Reverend just absolutely burning down Chicago as the Shaman is looking for a bit of cover behind the pillar. Reverence wants to go for a bunch of damage. Let's go Immolation. When you immolate totems, does it not like do anything to totems, by the way? I don't think it actually can put like a dot on a totem, can it? Or does it? Is it faster just to eliminate it with a immolate? I don't even know why, actually, to be honest. I'd like to know. Reflect up for Reverence. As his biggest sentence out of Chicago wants to make sure he gets himself full cast. Has a Mortal Coil in case he needs to board around the corner. Chicago is slowed down by the Succubus. Big Yellow Blast with a Mortal Coil traded with a Trinket out of Chicago. Interrupted onto Reverence. Could go for the wall here. Bonds Alfell. Trying to see if he can walk Chicago out. This is going to take quite a bit of the fire damage, but goes in for as much healing as possible. Soulfire with that wall. Mad Blaster damage. Trinkets out last second. Does end up getting himself the kill. And oh my goodness, the Warlock barely, narrowly survived that one. Looking for a bit of first save, but no, Flex Fist, Fire Fist. I don't know if he's going to give him much of an opportunity to really go for a proper recovery. It's going to be Succubus CC catching him. Reverence is still in the bad spot right now. Definitely needs to wait out until Grounding Totem is back up. Maybe it could go for a Reflect on the Fire Fist to reflect a Hodge onto the guy. That could be really good. Maybe potentially big blast of damage. Reflect up. Does he reflect anything back to him? Bubble out for Fire Fist. Dark Pact is available for Reverence, but not a lot of health really to work with. Does end up ripping the guy's soul to reduce his healing as well as his damage. Fire Fist has no help whatsoever. Does he just go down here? Mortal Coil could take him out right now. No longer has a bubble. Shield of Venus at the ready. Succubus easy to follow. Reverence is gonna have to break through the shield. Trying to go for a big soul fire. Does Fire Fist end up capitalizing here? Mortal Coil set together with it with Immolation. Got himself. Oh my god, that Incinerate went in perfect with the conflagration. Just all collapsed together at once. That was so good looking. He just didn't even cast more. He was just like, alright, Incinerate with Conflag, and that's it. That's gonna be just enough damage. That's all I need to throw out there. Out by the rogue. Hopefully he has a Succubus somewhere nearby. Where's that thing? Oh, it's right there next to the eyeball. Immediately gonna hit the rogue, whip him into shape. Into Succubus, you see Trinket out of the rogue as he goes in for a kidney shot. Reverence with the board. The Succubus at least is gonna be there to slow down the rogue a little bit. Reverence trying to see if he can go for a little bit more health. Instant caster available. Deathmark is on the Warlock, maybe in a lot of trouble. Dark Pact coming back up very, very soon. Definitely want to use it as soon as possible. DFA out of the rogue as he goes in for Big Slammer. Does get to try to interrupt Reverence, but it's going to be juked out. Fear to follow. Mortal Coil. Oh my goodness, that was so rough. Maybe if we would have sent out Mortal Coil inside of the Fear, maybe that would have given him a bit more health to work with. I really don't know. I think the bleeds just were already in. And Dali is going to go down to Torvin, just walking in, slamming him down fairly quickly. Is it going to be Freezed? I think Freezed ended up taking a lot of hits from that Paladin. I think it was literally in front of him for a good bit there. It got kind of cleaned down by him, sitting somewhere near Dali just now. My goodness. Gonna be an opener by Kragma. Is he going for the big Convoke? Wall out for Torvis. Kragma is going in for the bleed. Taking the slow and steady approach. Got himself full Berserk with Convoke to follow. Big damage on Torvis. Does go in for the bubble. Did not go for the interrupt there. Is Convoke no longer interruptible? Is that a thing? Because I feel like so far we hadn't had a single person interrupt Convoke. And that or Torvus was like, alright, I'm gonna let him Convoke and I'm just gonna time a bubble at the right time. Maybe that was what's happening. Kragman trying to see if he can just walk away from Torvus, got himself a barrel form together with Barkskin, got himself maybe a little bit of healing, renew as of the ready as well. Definitely should use the renew before the dampener really gets super high up. Definitely want to maximize it as best you can. Torvus walking in, number bubble, has himself Bustical Protection. I don't think he's got wings for a good bit, but he does have himself the final wreck available. So if he has final wreck available, maybe wings are available as well, because it should line up pretty close to one another actually. Maybe I have it wrong. It's going to be roared by Kragman, trying to go for a Cyclone. Does he have himself the... He doesn't have himself the talent that puts him in a cat form off of the Cyclone. Otherwise, that would have been pretty strong right now, actually. Especially if you can go for like full DRs on that Cyclone too. Gonna be an opener, Convoke the Spirits, Blessing of Protection immediately, and that's gonna be Torvus trying to see if he can counter back over to Kragman. Kragman needs to use whatever he can in order to escape him. It's gonna take a lot of damage from the Paladin Wings, Wake of Ashes, everything all collapsed at once. Blessing of Protection finally falls off, but the man did not have any more CC to follow up with Frieza trying to see if he can potentially burn Torvus down. Big shadows to follow. No more big defense available unless you gotta lay your hands for the last second. It's gonna be lots of lances back to back. Does he have himself any more combo? Lances can just continue to fire off of Frieza. Got himself lots of procs all at once, just blasted the guy out back to back to back. Well done by the mage. Diabolical's trying to see if he can get himself a decent setup versus Frieza. Sending out the Succubus pretty early right now though. As it's going to be able to swing around the corner. Does get poked out in the open. It's going to be Succubus CC. Trinket Frieza, I think, still is going to be ported behind the pillar. Not exactly where he wants to be, but at least he still has some line of sight to work with. Diabolicals does put him a lot closer, exactly where he wants to be, though. Frieza does have some cooldowns at the ready. He had, at least for a second, Icy Veins and everything available for a good bit there. Diabolical sending out Mortal Coil with a Fear. Could potentially be an Icebox situation, unless the Soulfire... It does do damage, but it doesn't really crit nearly as hard as Diabolicals wanted it to. It is going to be a nice book either way for Frieza. Just try to see if he can find himself a bit of a breather. Right now, you really got to find a way out of this situation. 44% dampening. You're kind of limited on the CC that you can work with, on the cooldowns you can work with. Succubus did not get hit by the Fire Breath, apparently. I thought it did. I thought it was a clean Fire Breath on both of them with a ring. No, Succubus was able to kind of stump him for a second. Stun around the corner. Freeze it. Kind of limited on what he can really do right now. Got himself a shield, but it's got burnt up very, very quickly. Normal Icebucket already. And I think the portal just ends up... Icebucket again? Available again. I stand corrected. Icebucket is back up and available. Into immediate Succubus, easy to follow. So far for Diabolicals, I think it's just over, right? Freeza, there's no way. Oh, I tried to go for an invis at the end too. There's just no way to escape that one. That was rough, man. These Warlocks right now are absolutely brutal. Wait, didn't Diabolicals get 2 kills there? Or is there only just 1? Oh no, I think it was... Is it only just 1?